hadn't seen the films. So I kind of came into this clown horror world with fresh eyes. And then also seeing that Eli was attached, I figured there was going to be that amazing sense of comedy to it as well. So to kind of differentiate it from those films.
Yeah, and this is bloody, by the way. There's an awful lot of blood and gore in this sort of movie as well. So if you like that really deep horrors, action-packed sort of suspense and dare I say tragic demise, which there is a lot of it, this certainly lives up to the table. This is no PG sort of movie. They leave nothing untold here. This can be very dark and grim at times in terms of I say the poor cast members what they go through.
That's accurate. There's definitely a lot of blood. A lot. It's like the smell of corn syrup blood, I think, is still lodged in my nose. So,
Yeah, and you mentioned that corn syrup, and you showed all of this. Quite surprised that in my research, it was filmed in Stonewall, Manitoba, Canada, in a sort of cornfield in this one sort of area. And I imagine Manitoba, Canada, a far distant cry from Los Angeles, from Atlanta, Georgia, from Las Vegas, from New Orleans, all the usual hot spots when you Toronto, Vancouver, when you think of shooting a movie. Maybe it's just very much out in the middle of nowhere in terms of we used as a film crew when you rocked up to Manitoba in Canada, or the locals even were aware of it, or were they sort of surprised to see a film crew coming to into their small little place?
yes, well, I'm actually from where we filmed, which is Winnipeg, and we were filming like just a lot of it in Winnipeg, but some just outside of Winnipeg. And so much filming happens in Winnipeg, and want to do a shout out to the amazing crews they have over there. I've been there to film multiple times, so they're a well-oiled machine. Winnipeg, they are fantastic. They know exactly what they're doing. So yeah, it was nothing new to them, but and lots of horror films are filmed there as well. So yeah, we were in good hands.
Yeah, and I suppose Cassandra, without giving much of the plot away, dare I say, these are sort of teenagers, they're sort of misfits, they're on the sort of edge of society, sort of wondering what to do, sort of next with their lives. They come from a remote sort of place, maybe job prosperity ain't really the greatest in terms of this, the place they come from, and dare I say, it all leads to like maybe that there's nothing extraordinary or extra special about these sort of people that are picked on. This is not like a Final Destination where it's come back in a sort of cycle. These are just ordinary sort of kids, dare I say, that are targeted for, dare I say, being the scourge maybe of society. Is that the fairest reflection?
Yeah, so the film really touches on the generational divide of, the older folks in the town and the teenagers and how they view things so differently. The elders more focused on tradition and the teenagers really wanting some change for the town. So yeah, they definitely don't see this coming, and I think that also makes it so interesting when you have a group of like fairly normal characters and then they're flung into these circumstances. So yeah.
And can you tell us a bit about your character, Jane? How does she's all sort of fit into this drama?
Yeah, so Janet, she
Janet,
would,
apologies.
yeah, Janet, she would probably describe herself as the queen bee. She is someone who really thrives on control and she likes things a certain way. So I think when Quinn comes in, Katie Douglas's character, she's a bit threatened by the attention she's getting, and but overall she dreams of a better life for herself. She puts so much into their YouTube channel, and I think really has hopes to one day get out of this small town. So
So she's sort of is she using everyone as a sort of a stepping stone for her success? Does she sort of walk over people to get where she wants? Is she a bit two-sided, or is she very much a motivator, very sort of driven? Is there goodness?
Yeah, I would say she's more driven. I do feel like under her icy persona, she really does love her friends so much, and she wants a better life for all of them. And that's why she puts so much into this channel, because I think in her mind, it's her way to escape. And I do think in a alternate reality, her and Quinn would have been really great friends. They're off to a rocky start. But I think that comes from her being a little bit threatened by Quinn because she's so cool. And so is Katie. Katie is so cool.
And I suppose, Cassandra, in terms of horror deaths, most of it now, in terms of big movies and productions, are all sort of green screened in terms of the sort of effects and visual effects added later. But I suppose in a horror sort of feel, a movie where a clown's the sort of killer, in terms of shooting those sort of scenes, was it actually to pretend you're sort of terrified when a sort of clown is running after you in real life? Is it much harder than it sort of looks, or is it sort of easy to fall into that sort of fearful zone?
Well, we had no green screen, so we
Okay.
were really out in the cornfield running, really running a lot. But you know what? It's funny because you get to know the stunt men and women. So I knew who was the clown, and he's awesome. So it definitely took away a lot of the fear there. But yeah, definitely having that sensation of being alone in this massive field and just looking, and it just keeps going and going created that sense of, oh, fear, and we're alone in this. So that was cool. And that
And you
helped a
mentioned
lot.
that, so obviously an awful lot of props, an awful lot of wardrobe, an awful lot of makeup, and I imagine with those sort of blood and gore, an awful lot of showers needed as well afterwards from the sort of takes and shooting.
That's very true. There was one day where I did take a shower in my trailer, and there was this giant spider in the shower, and it was like my own horror film. There was like blood going down the drain and then a spider in the corner. I was like, oh, so yeah,
Okay,
lots of
yeah.
blood.
I suppose the joys of being a professional actress, Cassandra. And
Yeah.
Cassandra, in terms of a clown in a cornfield, in terms of what sort of how you would describe it, is it just a real out classic or horror, or is there a different sort of other sort of themes running through it as well?
Wait, sorry, what was that?
So, in terms of a clown in a cornfield, is it just really action or horror, or is there a bit of suspense, or in terms of the journeys the characters go through as well in the movie?
Yes, I would say there's lots of suspense. The title is pretty straightforward, but the film is full of surprises, and you never really know what's going to happen next, which I think keeps it so exciting. So yeah, I would say it's a great mix of horror and thriller, and then also that really, really nice comedic element that Eli has brought to it. So it's a whole bunch of things in one.
Okay, so Cassandra Potenza, I'm now going to turn it over to you for the final 30 seconds. You might enlighten all our viewers, all our listeners, why they should tune in en masse for May the 9th on their cinema screens or wherever it might be streaming to watch a clown in a cornfield alongside Katie Douglas, Aaron Abrams, Kevin Durant, and obviously yourself, Cassandra. And when they do watch the movie, what's in store for them?
Well, so much is in store for you. I'm so excited for everyone to see it because it is so much fun. Again, I'll stress it is such a perfect combination of horror and then Eli's brilliant, unique sense of humor. And I just think you're all going to have so much fun. It's such a wild ride. And the first time I saw it was at South by Southwest, and I got to watch it with this great audience, and we were all seeing it for the first time. And there were laughs, there were screams. So yeah, it's going to be a blast.